So Arknights Enfield is releasing in 2 more weeks, so I thought to myself, why not make a video about this game? So let's get into it. First up, deciding, forget Terra, we are not there anymore. Enfield takes place on Talos 2, which isn't even technically a planet. It's the second moon orbiting a massive gas giant called Talos, about 152 years before the game starts. Pioneers from Terra, the world from original Arknights, traveled here through a dimensional gate called an Aether Gate. They came looking for resources and new territory. Classic colonizer energy, man. But here's where it gets interesting in this game. That portal, it got destroyed about a century ago during something called the First Aegiloi War. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm really sorry about that. Now, everyone is stranded. No way home. The Terran settlers had to build their own civilization from scratch on a hostile field with catastrophes, hostile wildlife, and these weird inorganic swarm constructs called Aegiloi, I don't know, whatever. So you play as the administrator, as you all know, female and male administrator, this mysterious figure who leads Enfield Industries, a massive engineering corporation that is basically trying to keep humanity alive while exploring ruins from an ancient civilization that existed here before. The story is way lighter than mainline Arknights, no soul-crushing depression about racism and terminal illness, but there is still plenty of mystery about what happened to the old civilization and what the Aegiloi actually are. The second one, this is quite big. It is not a tower defense game anymore. Obviously, just from looking at the trailer, this is a 3D action RPG. You control a team of 4 operators, but you are directly controlling one while the AI handles the others. And the AI is, let's be honest, kinda mid, so you will be swapping between characters constantly during fights. Combat feels like a mix between Genshin Impact and something more tactical, and I think they also took some inspiration from Final Fantasy VII Remake, got basic attack combos that end with a final strike, which is super important because that's how you generate skill points. No SP, no skills. And unlike most action games, there is no cooldowns on your battle skills. You just need the SP to cast them. The positioning matters too. Once you commit to an attack animation, you are locked in until it finishes. No cancelling, so you need to think about where you are standing before you start swinging, or you will get destroyed by boss attacks. The damage system. Alright, damage types. Pay attention because this completely changes how you build teams. You've got 2 main paths in this game, arts damage and physical damage. Arts is your elemental system. There are 5 elements: heat, electric, cryo, nature, and whatever other elements they've got. When you hit an enemy with the same element twice in a row, you trigger an art burst, which is really cool, basically a big explosion of damage. When you mix different elements, you get elemental reactions. It is almost the same as, what do you call it in Genshin Impact? I don't know, but it's still the same. Combustion from heat creates burn damage over time. Electric inflicts electrify, which makes the enemies take way more arts damage. Cryo with solidify straight up freezes them, same as all ice type characters. And if you hit a frozen enemy with physical damage, you shatter them for massive burst damage. Nature applies corrode, which drops enemies' defense by up to 15%. Physical teams work completely differently. They're all about stacking vulnerable on enemies up to 4 stacks. Skills like lift and knockdown add stacks. Then you consume them with crush or breach effects for disgusting damage. A well-built physical team can delete bosses if you time it right. Team building is all about synergy in this game. You want characters whose skills flow into each other, someone to apply states effects, someone to consume it, and someone to trigger combo skills. It is really strategical, comparing to like Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, and all other gacha games. So yeah, it is a slower paced game, it is a more strategical game, and I am not complaining because this game, in its core, is a tactical strategy game, right? Parrying and Stagger. Enfield has a parry system like in most gacha games nowadays, but it works completely differently than you expected. When an enemy is about to attack, you'll see a red glow around them. That is your window to parry. You don't parry with basic attack. You parry by using a character skill at the exact moment the enemy strikes. Nail the timing and you interrupt them while dealing massive stagger damage. Every enemy has a stagger bar sitting above their health, similar to games like Final Fantasy and something like Sekiro. fill it up and they get stunned, leaving them completely open for a few seconds, and bosses even have stagger nodes. When you hit certain thresholds, they stumble and give you damage windows. This is where the depth really shows. You are not just mashing buttons, but you are watching enemy patterns, timing parries, managing SP generation, coordinating with your elemental reactions, and trying to stagger enemies at the right moment to set up burst windows. It's really good. It is legitimately very tactical, and I freaking love how they manage to be very interesting, very slow pace. I don't know, man. It's just there's something heavy and weightful and impactful in this game, and everything looks and feels so satisfying in this game. I mean, combat wise. This is the most unique thing about this game, is the factory system. Think of it as Factorio and Satisfactory, but in anime form. You set up mining nodes at resource locations, you connect them back to your base with zip lines, which is really unique in a way for traveling, but I love it. Then you route everything through conveyor belts, processing machines and refineries to turn raw ore into usable materials. You need to manage power distributions, input and output routing, and juggle different type of ores. And this isn't some optimal side content. Most of your character progression comes from the AIC system, the automated industry complex. You need this to craft gear, upgrade operators, and unlock new abilities. If you ignore the factory system, you're gonna hit a wall very hard. The devs said they are aiming for a 50-50 split between RPG content and the factory building. You can lean more into one or the other based on preference, but you cannot completely skip either. The good news is that you can copy other players' factory layouts using blueprints. So if you don't want to figure out optimal routing yourself, you can just steal someone else's design and just tweak it from there. I know it is a bit like, what's the point? But hey, I mean, if they give us accessibility, then why not? So this is just a quick tip for the movement in this game: dash before jumping. So regular jumping in this game sucks. Your jump distance is so pathetic. Always dash before you jump. Now for combat, for exploration, this is a pretty good tip if I must say so myself. I know Genshin did it. I don't know if Wuthering Waves did it though. The Wuthering Waves itself, the movement in that game is so fluid already. I don't think there is. But yeah, this game, you need to dash before jumping so you have that efficiency to the movement. Combo skills are automatic but also manual. It doesn't make sense, I know, but let me explain. So combo skills are these powerful abilities that trigger automatically when specific conditions are met. But here's the twist: you manually activate them with a button prompt when the condition happens. One character's combo skills might trigger when an ally gets hit. Another activates after you cause a specific elemental reaction. Each one has its own cooldown. So the key is building teams where combo skills actually work together. If your team composition doesn't create natural trigger conditions, you are leaving damage on the table. So it's not just about having strong characters, it's also about having characters whose kits enable each other's combo skills, and I think that is pretty good. So I think it's gonna be free to play friendly. So let's get into the story bit of this game, the structure of the story. So Enfield is way more optimistic than the mainline Arknights. The tone is lighter, there is more humor, and the writing doesn't constantly make you question the nature of suffering. But there is still depth here, okay? The whole setup with the stranded colonists, the destroyed Aether Gate, the ruins of the old civilization, and the I don't know how to pronounce it. So yeah, the Agiloy Wars, it's all building to something really cool. And characters called Reconveners add this weird twist where they are basically reconstructions of original Arknights operators. They share memories and skills, but you have completely different personalities. It's like the alternate universe versions of yourself or your characters. The best thing about this game is actually the voice acting. I actually love the voice acting in this game, even the English voice acting. Now, people have said that the story is a bit slow at the start, but I don't know, people only played the beta and they haven't finished the story itself. As far as I know, Like Arknights, their story is really good. So who knows? Hopefully this game is gonna deliver in the story department, and you just have to wait and see. I mean, just from the animation, the cutscenes, everything is really good. Everything is really polished. I really just want a good lore, a good story, and not everything about the waifu like Wuthering Waves. Okay, please, please. Cross-save platforms. So if you don't know already, Enfield gonna be launching simultaneously on PC, PS5, iOS, and Android. Full cross-save and cross-play support. Basically, this is a huge part of gacha games because still some of gacha games doesn't do this, and it is such a very convenient thing to do. And I think this is just a must-have if you wanna launch your game simultaneously on PC and consoles and whatever it is on your hardware, right? So yeah, this is pretty good. Now the last thing about Enfield, it is quite free-to-play friendly, but how about the gacha system itself, right? So the gacha system is still being tested, so rates might change before launch, but based on what we've seen, it looks similar to other hypergriff games, guaranteed pulls after a certain number of attempts, the usual safety nets. But from what I've heard also, that the payday system in this game doesn't go over to the next banner, so everyone has been complaining about that. But then again, in Arknights, you can make your own pull. So hopefully the factory automation system in this game, it will means that you can set up production chains and let them run while you are doing other stuff, and hopefully we get premium pull currencies for playing the factory automation system, because in Arknights they have it like that, so fingers crossed. And also because combat has real depth with all the stagger mechanics, parries, and elemental reactions, skill actually matters in this game. You can clear content with lower rarity characters if you understand the systems. It's not just a DPS check where bigger numbers always win, like Honkai Star Rail, and hopefully there is not going to be any HP inflation in this game, so we can keep enjoying this game to the fullest without having to pay for the latest characters in the game. Fingers crossed though. So that's pretty much about it. 10 things you need to know before jumping into Arknights Enfield on January 22nd. Real-time action combat with tactical depth, a bit slower than most other action RPGs in this game. I mean, this category, like most gacha games, honestly. Elemental and physical damage paths that completely change team building, mandatory factory automation, a lighter story set on a colonized moon, and cross-platform support so you can play everywhere and anywhere you like. So if you're looking for another tower defense game, I don't think this is it. Even some of my cousins that play Arknights are gonna be like super skeptical about this game, because this is an action game, 50-50 action and strategy game, right? But I do think that this is a very unique game. I like it. I really want to see how this will go, and I just cannot wait. And hopefully I'm gonna be streaming Arknights Enfield day 1, hopefully. No promises, alright? I'll see you in Arknights Enfield. And as always, have fun with your games.